My initial plan was to do a live demonstration of this skill. However, I'm not sure that will be a possibility, so I am just going to use this video to explain to you what I would be doing in a live demonstration. As stated earlier on in my slides, the purpose of a newborn assessment is to ensure a child's healthy development because this assessment helps to detect illnesses and abnormalities, and detecting such things at an early age helps you to give the child the help they need, and the earlier the better. First off, weight. Weight would be measured soon after birth and measured in grams for accuracy, but you would convert it to pounds and ounces for the parents. There are always variables that may cause variations in the typical weight expected for newborns, which is from 5 to 8 pounds. And those are things such as like genetics, gender, race. There are just so many different things. And that's for everything I'm going to discuss: length, head circumference, abdominal circumference. So it's just all around. Next is length. I would use a disposable measuring tape to measure the baby's length, and I would measure from crown to heel. I would make sure to straighten the legs as well, so that I get an accurate measurement of the baby's length. The typical length, which varies, is from 18 to 22 inches. Head circumference. I would place the measuring tape just above the ears, eyebrows, and around the occipital bulge. The average head circumference should be around 13 inches. And one would want to make sure that when they measure the head circumference, it's 1 to 2 days after birth, because at least when the molding of the head has resolved. And the molding of the head happens because of the baby going through the vaginal canal. Chest circumference. You would measure the chest circumference around the nipple line, and it's typically 2 to 3 centimeters smaller than the head. And then again, that varies because of all that stuff we talked about earlier. For the abdominal circumference, this would be measured below the umbilicus, and it's approximately equal to the head, which is typically around 24 centimeters. Measuring the abdominal circumference helps to detect diseases of the abdominal cavity. Other things to visualize are the trunk and the nipples. So first, the trunk. You would gently palpate the collarbone and observe for symmetry in the infant's arm movement. The clavicle could be fractured due to childbirth, so this is why visualizing the trunk is important. If the child holds one of their arms to the side or cries when one of the arms are moved, that could be a sign of a fracture in the collarbone. And so if that's noted, then you would write it, take a note of it, and then tests would be done for a proper diagnosis, and that should heal within the first few weeks, thankfully. And nipples. So it's important to visualize nipples as well. You would palpate for size, and this is something really interesting I discovered, I learned, is that when you palpate the nipple for size, they may exude breast milk, and that's completely normal due to maternal hormones, and this breast milk is called witch's milk. Pretty cool. The size of the nipple determines the baby's gestational age. And last but not least, the newborn graph. So you would typically use the newborn graph for things you can measure. So not the things you visualize, like the nipples or the trunk. Those are things you take note on, but the graph is for measurements. And so all measurements are plotted here on the newborn graph, and the newborn graph is used to compare your results to the averages indicated, considering that, there will be variations.